Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, the wider Caribbean, and wherever you are. Welcome to another session in the University of the West Indies St. Augustine's series of virtual open days. My name is Jessel Murray, and I am the Deputy Dean for Distance and Outreach from the Faculty of Humanities and Education, the FHE. And on behalf of Dean Heather Cato and the entire FHE team, I'd like to welcome you to the most diverse faculty on the St. Augustine campus. I think you would agree with me when I say that we are the most diverse faculty because your presence here, in all of its own diversity today, shows that you have an interest in learning more about the many programs that we offer and the processes for you to join us. The FHC team and I will do our best to address all your questions and concerns because we truly are looking forward to welcoming you to the campus later this year. Today, first you will hear from the faculty's Dean, Dr. Heather Cato. She will deliver welcome remarks. Then we shall introduce you to the panel of persons that are on hand to address your questions in 2 question and answer sessions. Second of which will be about admissions and funding. In between, the faculty's Dean of Distance and Outreach, that's me, will take to the virtual podium to tell you more about the career paths that you can possibly embark on after studying with us. I am sure, we are sure, that you will have lots of questions, which we will get to in 2 question and answer segments. 2. But beginning now, we invite you to share your questions already, any concerns that you're coming with, and of course, your comments throughout the program via the chat feature. After today's session ends, you can still contact us generally at dean.fhe@sta.uwi.edu or via Facebook through any of the programs that we have or the FHE Facebook page. Now that we know what we have to look forward to, let's get started. I'd like to now invite Dr. Heather Cato, Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education, to formally welcome you to this evening's proceedings. Dr. Cato.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Good evening, everyone. I want to start by saying that we are just so glad that you've joined us this evening. We hope that this open day is the start of a long relationship, one that will take you through an undergraduate program or a postgraduate program. And even after this, we hope some of you will become our colleagues and others our partners as you develop your own careers in the humanities and education disciplines. As a faculty of humanities and education, we really felt the need to say this evening, dare to be you. This may sound strange, but this is my 7th year as dean, and it is still surprising to me that we have so many students who for various reasons are not doing the programs for which they have a natural affinity or which give them a true sense of purpose. This is caused by several factors: our social norms, economic expectations, and I believe not really understanding what the humanities and education disciplines are really all about. For some, it is that difficult process of getting to know what you really want to do and seeing how your field of study will relate to your future career. In other cases, it's just that some of us are so talented and in so many ways that we are really not too sure about how it's all going to fit together. We hope this evening to give you a sense of the areas of specialization in our faculty and also some examples of the careers you can have based in the humanities. However, I want to say that the careers many of you will excel at are probably not even known today. Your possibilities are limitless. You are part of a brave new world. Who would have thought that you would be entering UWI virtually? The fact is that the post-Caribbean and world will be a very different place. The contours will be shaped by creativity, innovation, a new period of historicizing, an education system that is more holistic in its approach and more equitable in its reach, This 21st century is demanding changes. We must answer the call. There's a call for a world in which culture and language creates a new level of understanding and empathy. The space we inhabit in the 21st century will not just be local, nor will it be just global. We will combine them and we will be global. This means that we must combine local and global considerations in a rapidly evolving new reality. It will be a space where Caribbean creative and festival arts and films have regional and international impact. They will be our ambassadors. If you feel in your heart of hearts that you want to be part of this world, then I say join us. We would just love to welcome you. Prepare for a journey like no other. I suggest you start now and buckle up. Help us solve the problems of the 21st century. Unleash your limitless potential. Apply your gifts in areas like languages, linguistics, dance, musical and visual arts. Use history to discover Caribbean heroes, to discover our freedom fighters. Work with us to determine which statues and monuments will shape our visual memories in the next stage of Trinidad and Tobago's development. Become educators who know how to develop the abilities in all our people. Create theories and methodology based on our cultures so that we understand our value, understand our uniqueness, and the ways in which we can contribute. Let us reclaim our ability to speak several languages, which the colonizers took from us. Let us finally shape a Caribbean space and use our vantage point to help shape the world. Let us apply humanities and education disciplines, and in doing so, do no less than craft a different world. Let us finally decolonize our minds, our hopes, and our dreams. Let's produce transformative social innovations together. If you see yourself as part of this process, if this is the kind of intellectual, dynamic space you are looking for, join us. Let's talk you. You are our future. Without further ado, let's begin, Mr. Murray. So back to you.
Thank you, Dean. Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. Let's talk you. Indeed, and that's what we'll be doing today, talking you. Now, after the Dean has talked so lovingly about what you can do here, I've now directed you to our faculty showreel, where for 3 minutes, you can see what it has been like and what you will look like from September onwards. BUE, let's talk you. So now you have a good idea of who we are and what we do, and hopefully what you will look like here. September, be with us, BUE. So don't forget to keep sharing your questions in the chat box. We will certainly get to them during the question and answer segment, which will follow. Of course, I'm already seeing that Barbados is in the house, as you would say. Palo Seco is here. St. Augustine is here. Chagonas is here. Valencia is here. Mova is here. Just about lots of people are here so far. They even say hello to each other across the chat. And we look forward to seeing your questions later and your comments. Now, I'd like to introduce you to our heads of departments who will be answering your questions, your program questions directly later on this evening. You should memorize their faces and the associated programs. And if you have not done so, we will be inviting you to choose a breakout room towards the end of today's program to pose questions about the specific programs to these 7 persons who you are now about to hear from quite quickly together. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Professor Jerome Delisle, the Director of the School of Education, the SOE. Professor Delisle?
Thank you, Jessel. As mentioned, I am Jerome Delisle, and I have the honor of leading this very important School of Education. Education is such a critical part of our recovery as a nation, and there are so many changes to make in the future. Education workers work in very dynamic environments. They need to demonstrate values and interdisciplinary knowledge. You'll really enjoy being here at the School of Education and seeing the new world that we offer. Back to you, Jessel.
Thank you very much, Professor Delisle. Now, I'd like to introduce Dr. Beverly Carter, the Director of the Center for Language Learning, the CLL. Dr. Carter?
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Bonjour, hola, namaste, ni hao, ni men hao. Now, if you've understood some of those languages, I'm sure everyone understood hola and bonjour and namaste, but there's one there you didn't know. So if you were to come to our faculty next year, one of the opportunities available to you would be to learn a foreign language. The Center for Language Learning, where I am the director, my name is Beverly Ann Carter, Dr. Beverly Ann Carter, Director of the CLL, as we are familiarly called. We teach a number of foreign languages. So if you didn't recognize that last one, ni hao, ni men hao, I look forward to you joining us in September, where you'll get an opportunity to learn that language and 8 or so other foreign languages. Welcome to the faculty in advance, and I look forward to greeting you at the Center for Language Learning, the CLL. Thank you, Mr. Murray, back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Carter. Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Louis McWilliams, the head of the Department of Creative and Festival Arts, the DCFA.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murray. And to all of you guys here, welcome. And I am hoping that lots of you are interested in becoming part of our, what we call our DCFA family. For those of you who don't know, I mean, we offer a number of disciplines. We have dance, music, theater, visual arts, yeah? And at each level, we have certificate and degrees. So in that experience, if you, regardless of which area you're coming from, one can start at the certificate level where we have certificate in dance, visual arts, music, theater. And in theater, we also have a practitioner, we have a certificate in technical theater. Then we have the degree program in all the disciplines, and we have a number of excellent courses in our Carnival Studies program too, which we're gonna encourage you to be a part of. We are a very diverse department, and we are actually looking forward to having you with us, and as this semester coming to, as we beginning to have even more experience working in the cyber and the online platforms working to teach. We are excited. We have a qualified and experienced staff that's going to greet you and meet you. And we look forward to hearing from you even later this evening to answer any more questions. Welcome to FHE, welcome to DCFA. Thank you. Back to Mr. Murray.
Thank you, Mr. McWilliams. Now we're almost halfway through as we introduce Dr. Sherry-Ann Singh, the head of the Department of History. Dr. Singh?
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Department of History, I would like to warmly welcome our new and prospective students to the UWI. Some of you may be majoring or minoring in history, doing history courses as electives, or entering our postgraduate programs. Whatever your choice, the Department of History looks forward to sharing and enhancing your academic experience. Why choose history, you may ask? Yes, history does allow you to enter into a considerable number of professions, but it is so much more than just a career pathway. History underscores all professions and disciplines. It helps us to understand people and societies and provides us with an invaluable repository of past experiences and responses to those experiences. The past informs the present, which in turn propels us into the future. Our present experience with the COVID-19 pandemic is no different. Armed with the knowledge of similar past crises, related issues and responses, we can more successfully manage and eventually overcome this debilitating pandemic. Because of the current pandemic, we are running into our second academic year of teaching and learning virtually. I know that students are entering university life a tad bit disappointed since you cannot get the full physical UWI experience. This too shall pass, however. In the interim, we in the Department of History will continue to take all necessary measures to ensure that the learning experience is as fulfilling and successful as possible for each of our students. No one gets left behind. Thank you, and once again, welcome. Back to you, Mr. Murray.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Now, for our last three heads, we move on now to Professor Elizabeth Walcott Hackshaw, the head of the Department of Modern Language and Linguistics, the DMLL. Professor Walcott Hackshaw, over to you.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone. It's really great to have you all here today. The FHE is a family. That's something that I would like to stress. We all work together. It is multidisciplinary, so you can study languages, as we have in my faculty, my department, not faculty, but it is my faculty as well. My department, which is DMLL. We teach French and Spanish. We have minors and majors in French and Spanish. Also linguistics. We have fantastic programs, is speech language pathology, deaf sign language. If you are thinking about other degrees within the faculty, one of the most rewarding things I think you could do, practical and beneficial, is to add a language. As the Dean was saying, and we're all stressing, it's important to have a much more global approach now, local and global, but adding a language to your degree, even as a major or minor, is very, very important. To attract you a little more to the Modern Languages Department and Linguistics, we have study abroad programs, so students can spend a year abroad in Martinique or in Paris or Colombia. We also have programs where you can spend a semester or a year at a university in a French or Spanish speaking country. And our students love the experience. It adds to your UE experience. It gives you an international feel to your degree. So you do explore both local and global. So if you want to hear more about the degrees that we offer in modern languages and linguistics, please join me and some colleagues in the breakout room, and we'll let you know much more about the program. So welcome and thank you. And this is a most dynamic faculty, multidisciplinary. And I have to say, I have some of the most really, really kind, generous faculty members and colleagues. So please think about us. And as Mr. Murray keeps saying, we look forward to having you join us in September. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Murray.
Thank you, Professor Walcott Hackshaw. And now we introduce another professor, Professor Paula Morgan, who is the head of the Department of Literature, Culture, and Communication Studies, the LCCS. Professor Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. I can say in hindsight that studies in the field of literature, culture, and communication brings tremendous practical value. Every literary engagement takes us traveling into diverse cultures, worlds. We travel into time, past, present, and future, and we gain access to that most powerful space of all, the realm of our splendid and infinite imaginations. We learn how language mediates and constructs reality, and how texts interface with life, and lives interface with texts. Here we learn to read way beyond words on a page. We read hearts, minds, and intents. In cultural studies, we learn the joy of celebration, the significance of everyday customs and habits, the centrality of power relations, the grip of ideologies. In cultural studies, we prepare engaged citizens who are willing and able to discern the challenges of the structures of power and dominant discourses in everyday life and in the workplace. Our program produces socially and ethically conscious individuals who know about the overwhelming cultural and social crises that we face in the contemporary world. Our graduates are impelled towards social action. As our world descends into increasing crises because of ruptures in communication, we see the value of training in media and interpersonal communication, in understanding harmonious relations, and so pivotal at this moment, health communication. So our disciplines teach persons to read carefully, communicate effectively, and think critically. We learn modes of being, conceptualizing, and communicating. It gives students access to ways of being that they may never have experienced otherwise. They lift us beyond our own time and place, culture and nation, and in so doing, they empower us to reflect critically upon our home place. It's a wild and wonderful adventure, so join us in the Department of Literary, Cultural, and Communication Studies. Thanks. Over to Mr. Murray.
Thank you, Professor Morgan. And finally, and I hope you've been memorizing all of the programs and the associated names, we'd like to introduce Mr. Yao Ramasa, the coordinator of the film unit. Mr. Ramasa.
Thank you, Jocelyn. I want to welcome everybody on board the film program. We look forward to you joining us and telling your stories on screen. This is so beautiful because at this point in time, the world is opening up to film, and of course, you know about Netflix and so on. So there's an access and avenue for your work, and you're looking at hundreds of billions of dollars of a real industry. And within 3 years, we want to put you on that track to release you and unleash your imagination on that world. And we have little examples. We have alumni and former students you may know of who did features like Green Days by the River, Pendulum, Grace and Salim, all playing in your multiplex and in international film festivals all over the world. It's very lucrative, as I said. I don't want to sound materialistic, but it is a critical industry. One of our students, for example, has made, for instance, $90,000 in 3 days of work. And that's what we kind of want to be straightforward about. Not to take away from the art and the storytelling and the narrative, it's beautiful. And we have to also, and I shouldn't say, and we have to also be straightforward in saying it's an arena that is very lucrative. We don't want you necessarily to make films in order to make money. But when you make great films in these days, that's what's going to happen. So we'd like to even tell you how to manage that money when it comes. So, the future is bright and generally wearing some very dark shades. So welcome aboard, film screenwriters, directors, cinematographers, producers, to the new world. It's about to bloom and blossom for you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ramasa. And this is a wonderful segue. But before I go with the segue, again, I want to remind you, you've heard our 7 heads, and I hope that you will join them towards the end of the program because you'll be quote unquote one-on-one with them and associated persons who will be able to answer your questions about specific programs. But Mr. Ramasa just touched on a point at the end. He said, yes, don't be materialistic. But one of the things that he has talked about, and which is a wonderful segue, is about careers. And what he has focused on in terms of careers, even more important, is the element that sometimes we tend to miss, which is about entrepreneurship. And I'm going to be highlighting some of the careers which are possible from each of the departments, but I also want you to think of it through the lens of what can I develop over time? Not just where am I going to join or where am I going to get a job? How can I influence my own career? So therefore, in the School of Education, which should be up on your screen now, you will see that there are many careers which are available to you, starting with the early childhood and then primary and secondary school level, as one could be as a teacher or eventually move into administration. One can also move into different administration and consultancy, administrative education. And we have a number of alumni who are working as curriculum officers and school supervisors and measurement officers and a number of other careers. Then there are further field, again, under the agencies and programs, you'll notice that at the bottom of it, yes, you can be an entrepreneur, you can be a consultant, you can research, or you can be a part of the National Training Agency. And then further on, after the ECC and primary and secondary, some of you all may aspire to where my colleagues and I currently are, which is working at tertiary education. All of these careers are open through the School of Education. Next, Mr. McWilliams spoke about the Department of Creative and Festival Arts. And yes, a lot of people think of creative and festival arts as only performing and exhibiting. And of course, those are very important things in terms of performance, exhibiting in visual arts or performing in dance, theater, and in music. And yet there are other areas as well which come out of it in terms of administration, being an artistic director, being a cultural officer, being involved in any way in the myriad possibilities of the carnival arts, in managing and being a public relations specialist, an event specialist, a festival specialist. And again, research comes in. And please notice, yes, within the arts, within any of the disciplines, you can be an entrepreneur. In the Department of History, there is so much that can be done. And there's, of course, the very important, which is so critically important nowadays, being in the diplomatic service. Again, administration, developing curriculum. I've seen some people already in the chat who are interested in archaeology. People can also be involved in library science or being an archivist. There's a heightened interest in people who are interested about their families. So you can be a genealogist, researching Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean. There's heritage tourism. All of these are hinged upon coming out of one's studies from the Department of History. Professor Morgan just spoke about literary, cultural, and communication studies. And again, education runs through here as a thread, research runs through as a thread. I'm sure everybody every day in the middle of this table is aware that at around 4 o'clock, that there's a certain corporate communications officer who comes on to deliver information. Corporate communications is critically important, and it's a rising field. There's art criticism, cultural and creative industries, publishing, and just creative writing, and also creating one's own NGO, non-governmental organizations. The Department of Modern Languages and Linguistics. Professor Walker Hackshaw spoke about, of course, teaching, interpreting, and Trinidad is becoming more and more multiculturalism and, of course, multicultural. And also Dr. Carter spoke about the many languages which are here. When we start flying again, yes, flight attendants have to be multilingual. Court interpreters, yes, critically important. Foreign service officers, linguists, language education, speech pathology, sign language. All of these come out of the Department of Modern Languages and Linguistics. All of these are career paths. And finally, the Dean's Office, the Film Program, it captures exactly what Mr. Ramasa had just talked about, which is film creation and other associated things. Trinidad Film Company is really starting to take off within Trinidad and Tobago. The GISL, which is the Government Information Service, is also critically important. just about every endeavor wants some sort of film and broadcast possibilities. And we can see there are lots of, there's local broadcasting, there's international broadcasting, directing and producing, writing. And of course, I'm sure that you're aware that the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival, many of the students of the Faculty of Humanities and Education have become stars in their own right. Be a game changer. Know that when you come to the FHE, all of these are possible. And as you can see, I am FHE, I am entrepreneurial. Don't think of just also just being with somebody else. I am entrepreneurial, critically important. Now, don't take my word for it alone though. What we're going to introduce you now is our alumni. Listen to 3 of our alumni, and I would say, and watch our 4th, who are going to tell you about their experiences and what the FHE meant to them and what it means to them now in their careers. Take a view.
My name is Lawrence Ardrew, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Heroes Foundation. When you join the Faculty of Humanities and Education, you're actually joining a family. And that family will be there for you whenever you are in need. I actually transferred into FHE from NATSI at the time, and I studied communication studies and the geography. It's a bit of a weird combination, and it was a little challenging to get together. But every single person in every single office that I visited at FHE was so willing and helpful in getting me on that path to achieve this dream. Geography and communications really help you understand the interconnectivity of people and the space and the place. And FHE provides you with this unique opportunity to interact and understand worlds of knowledge and worlds of experience from the people. People are at the heart of FHE. People are in the engine room.
Hi everybody, my name is Tremaine Lamy and I did a theatre arts degree and a communication studies degree at the University of the West Indies. I am currently employed at the Lion King in London as a singer, and I'm the children's director for the show here. I've been here for the past 8 years. Deciding to go to UE was the best decision I ever made for my career, hands down. It is. I mean, from the coursework that we covered, it was so extensive and so comprehensive from a theoretical and a practical point of view. You know, it exposed students to not only the local heritage that we have in Trinidad and Tobago in an in-depth way, but it also shed a light on a lot of international work and prepared students for that international environment, you know, if they were to go abroad and further studies or get work or whatnot. Lecturers that I met at UE, I mean, they are my present day mentors. And if it weren't for their guidance and their knowledge and going beyond the call of just tutelage, you know, I don't know where I would have been, because they were always there pushing and encouraging students and getting the best out of them. And they saw each student very individually, you know, and that's a beautiful thing. With the arts, it's very personal and very energy driven, and so a lot of the lecturers there were able to specifically have a relationship with you that drew out your best abilities, and that encouraged me so much because I saw myself as an individual, and that is just due to, you know, lecturers like Jessel Murray and Louis McWilliams, you know, that have been so vital to not just my education there, but my career further on.
Hi, I'm Ronald, and this is Christiane interpreting. We are both graduate students here at the Department of Modern Languages and Linguistics. You know, the very first thing that people ask you when you tell them that you studied or you're studying linguistics is what is linguistics? Or they ask, what do Caribbean linguists do? The short answer is that we study language. We study language structure, we study how people learn language, we study the relationship between language and society, technology, culture, etc. But Christiane and I both came into our programs, our undergraduate programs, as foreign language majors. I majored in Spanish first, and Christiane majored in French first. Before my program, I was a teacher in a secondary school. I taught English and I taught Spanish. And Christiane, even while she was in her program, did a year abroad in France, teaching English as well. But when we did courses and fieldwork in linguistics, we were able to understand and name a lot of experiences that we had before. So before I came into the program, I had been in a courtroom where I worked as an interpreter, and I saw a man explaining something in French Creole while I was waiting for my case to be heard. And he was asked by the magistrate, who was not St. Lucian, to say it again, and he said it in English. But when he said it the second time in English, it did not represent what he had said in French Creole accurately. I did not understand what I had witnessed until I did Introduction to Language in the linguistic program here. Christiane had a similar experience. So she started off in foreign languages, but when she did fieldwork in a deaf and hard of hearing community, she was informed by that. She was connected to that experience, and that is why she picked up, as I did, linguistics as a second major, and we are both now graduate students in linguistics.
In my everyday job here as the children's director at the Lion King, I'm able to conduct my work with a confidence because I was trained in that field, because of the coursework that I covered during my program. It gave me so many tools and the knowledge to carry on my work in such an effective way. I am proud to be a game changer. I am proud to be UWI.
All right, we're back and you've heard from our alumni. So I hope we've captured your attention just a little bit more with the range of programs that you can pursue at our faculty, the scope of the careers that these programs will qualify you for, and our alumni who have gone through. A little bit of a snapshot. You can also find information on our programs and associated fees on the campus website. And I also have seen that they are putting in information in the chat so that people can start looking and seeing some and have some of their questions answered. Also, over the past few weeks, the campus hosted information sessions that focus specifically on financial services. If you missed any of those sessions, you can view those recordings on the UWI St. Augustine's Facebook page. Well, finally, we can now start moving into the first question and answer segment, the interactive part of the evening, with questions principally about admissions and financial matters. After this, we will direct you into the specific department rules. So our first question here for our team, and we have a team from the bursary, Mrs. Carolyn Gooding and Mrs. Sarah Kalu. We have a team, we have Christy Smith from the scholarships and bursaries, and Nigel Bradshaw from admissions. And a prospective student has asked, when is the deadline for applications? And what are the main things that applicants should be mindful of? Mr. Bradshaw, I think that's probably a question for you.
Okay, just good afternoon, everyone. With respect to the application date, first of all, we're just happy to be able to have many people consider the Faculty of Humanities and Education for everything that is about expressing themselves and making an indelible mark on Trinidad and Tobago and the region. We would love to have your applications in before July 31st, 2021. There are a number of areas that are required to be able to complete a successful application if you have not yet applied. I think you might just want to make contact with me via my email address. I am reachable 365 days a year, 24/7, primarily because I just love being able to share the information about how to access our campus. My email address, I'll enter it into the chat for anyone that needs information about the application process. You could email me immediately and I'd share any information that you require. All right, just reminding everyone, until July 31st of 2021, we will continue to receive applications for persons interested in participating in what's next at the Faculty of Humanities and Education. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And yes, you can get on, you can apply right now. You can apply tonight. You can apply on the public holiday. Well, let's not talk about that. Yes, I think I'll just leave that one alone. These days, that's a little bit miserable. The second question that we have is, are the programs with the Faculty of Humanities and Education, the FHE, gate funded? Yes, I knew that everybody must have been asking that one after the other, and I'm sure it was just in and out of the chat. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Gooding, I'm sure you can tell us about that.
Definitely. Thank you, Mr. Murray. Good evening and welcome to all. Yes, the programs and the courses in the Faculty of Humanities of Education are gate funded. Those are the undergraduate courses. And we also have, I'll just go through with you some information on the gate funding. So all nationals of Trinidad and Tobago can access gate funding to cover tuition fees only. To do so, you will first be required to get a gate ID by visiting any TT Connect office with your ID card and birth certificate. Once you have obtained your gate ID, you will then be able to log into the eGate website and apply for funding. Now, you'll be required to apply for gate funding each semester that you are registered at the UE. Undergraduate students can qualify for up to 100% gate funding. There is a funding percentage known as the means test rate, which is determined by the gate office, and that is based on the supporting documentation which you would upload with your gate application. So let me just share with you some more on the means test criteria. So effective August 2020, the means test funding policy was amended as follows. All applications for gate funding include a mandatory means test. And where your household income is below $10,000 per month, you are eligible for 100% gate funding. If your income is above 10,000 but less than 30,000, you are eligible for 75% gate funding. Where it is above 30,000 but less than 75,000, you are eligible for 50% gate funding. And where your income is above $75,000 per month, students will be ineligible for gate funding. Also, with effect from August 2020, funding under the GATE program is provided for only one program up to the undergraduate level. Funding for postgraduate programs was discontinued. You can get more information on the GATE website. And Mr. Murray, if you just allow me to just go through, in addition to, as we're talking about funding, there is also a help loan available. So
yes,
students,
please proceed with that. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So in addition, students who qualify for GATE can also access help loans from the GATE office to cover the portion of fees which were not covered by GATE. So nationals of Trinidad and Tobago can therefore finance all of their tuition fees through GATE funding and help loans. And let me also share with you how these fees can be paid. Qualifying students also have access to pay both their tuition and hall fees using a student payment plan. Now, this plan is available to all TNT nationals pursuing an undergrad or postgraduate program at the St. Augustine campus. A national of another contributing territory who is not receiving scholarship support from their respective government also qualifies for the student payment plan. And then the last item is a student whose tuition fees are at least $2,600. So these payment plans run every semester and they comprise 2 to 3 installments. So once you qualify for the student payment plan, simply make your payments by the stipulated deadline dates each semester. And how do you pay your fees? The options for paying your fees are at any branch of Republic Bank using the UWI bank deposit slip. You can do so online through the My Secure Area portal using a valid credit card or a debit chip card, or via bank transfer using internet banking. And for foreign students, you can do so via wire transfer as well. So I know our colleagues from Financial Advisory Services are also here and postgraduate studies. So they will go more into providing scholarships and bursaries to assist you with financing your degree. So in summary, there are a number of options available to finance your undergrad degree. I know you specifically asked about GATE, but I took the opportunity to go through the other areas. And we at the UWI Bursary Account Student Section, we're here to assist you. So we look forward to seeing you in September. Be UWI, be a game changer. Thank you for your time and attention. Back to you, Mr. Murray.
Thank you, Mrs. Gooding. Wow, yeah. I think you've sold some people. Yes?
Can I ask the question of Mr. Gooding, Ms. Gooding, with regards to funding? Matthew from History Department.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes, Dr. Matthews, continue. Okay, we seem to have lost her. All right.
If you enter the university with an associate degree and you receive GATE funding for that, will you still be eligible to apply for funding for your full undergraduate degree? Thank you.
No, you won't, because that would be considered as your undergrad. Yes, certificates, diplomas, once you receive GATE funding, you can only get it once.
Okay.
Once you've already received it.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Gooding. All right, great. So I'm going to bounce back to, and this is definitely a question for admissions. This is one of our perspectives. So I'm going to say, I'm going to take off my short thing and tap them on the wrist, but the news is good, I think. From X to me, I sent in my application approximately 3 months ago. However, I haven't sent in my supporting documents as yet. Can I still do so? Mr. Bradshaw, I want you to smile in answering that question. Smile.
I'm doing that right now, right, Jessel? Definitely. Right. We have a new e-courier process that allows students to send in their documents in support of the application. We recognize that students will have some challenges in being able to submit their documents. Sometimes, if for one reason or the other, there's a challenge, but you can still submit your documents until August the 9th of 2021. We will continue to accept all supporting documents for applications up until August 2021.
Okay,
that
great.
Answers the question, Justin.
Yes, it does. So July 31st is the closing. That's when you can initiate your, up to then you can initiate, but then you have until a little bit of a leeway, 10 days later, till August the 9th to turn in your supporting documents. So yes, please go ahead and turn in your supporting documents. So we bounced from finance to admissions. Now we're back to finance. And of course, this is another one is, are there any scholarships and bursaries available for the Faculty of Humanities and Education? And I know that either Ms. Smith or Ms. Kalu must be ready to jump onto the screen and say yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Murray, and to your team at the Faculty of Humanities and Education. It's a pleasure to be here. And of course, a special welcome to all our prospective students, both undergraduate and postgraduate. Thank you for joining. Well, I am here just to speak very briefly, of course, to your question from the undergraduate level. My colleague, Ms. Kalu, will speak to postgraduate options. Just to say that I am speaking from the Financial Advisory Services Department, and this department is located within the Division of Student Services and Development. 8 departments, 1 division, all here to serve you, of course, with your non-academic needs. And so let me just jump right into it, Mr. Murray, by saying first that we provide financial aid as well as financial assistance via several programs. Let me just touch on financial aid first. Our financial aid programs are usually offered to undergraduate registered full-time students. The Adopt a Student program specifically for undergraduates, which offers a stipend of $400 a month. What is really unique about this program is that it is funded through the kind donations of members of staff of the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus. So, of course, I wish to extend my thanks to the members of staff who contributed. And these programs are accessible via our online application system. You just need to go onto our webpage, sta.uwi.edu/DSST. And from there, of course, you can navigate to the Financial Advisory Services page and access the program. The eligibility criteria includes, of course, you being a full-time registered student. For the Adopt a Student program, you must show some measure of need, verifiable evidence of need. We have another program called the Hardship Grant. And of course, this is for students who are probably experiencing some major challenge with either their tuition fees, some health situation, some really great challenge that they come to us to get some additional assistance for. It's usually capped at about $5,000 and same online process. You can see the tab and of course go to it and apply, and we will assess it accordingly. And I just also want to, I must say this, we have a new program introduced in 2020. It's called the COVID Aid Fund, and this was generously donated to the university by the Guild of Students who recognized that some students were facing financial challenges, and so partnered with our office to ensure that students could be well taken care of based on, of course, the submission of their claim, their application, and verifiable evidence that they were indeed impacted by the COVID pandemic. So that is really outstanding. We've had a number of students applying and most of them getting through. So we just want to put that out there because as a university, we are very sensitive to what is taking place in the homes and in the lives of our prospective and current students. And finally, I just want to jump into our scholarships and bursaries. So you would have heard Ms. Gooding mention scholarships and bursaries. Some of you may be coming to us from the region and abroad and being financed through scholarships by your respective governments, by private donors. Our scholarships and bursaries at the St. Augustine campus are privately donated bursaries. And that means for us that they are non-tuition based. And it's a very important point because a lot of students, when signing up for GATE, they usually have to declare whether they have a scholarship in hand. This particular scholarship does not serve for tuition purposes, so you don't need to declare it. It's really funding that's given to you to help you with the other costs associated with pursuing higher education. Now, that is not to say that you're not going to use it to fund your degree, to pay your tuition. Ms. Gooding spoke about students who would get 50% financing, 75% financing. This type of funding allows you to pay for that excess, the 25%, the 50% that you may not readily have in your pocket. And so let me tell you now how much you can get. So at the baseline, you have $5,000. That's the least amount you can get with our scholarships and bursaries. And when I say 5,000, that's 5,000 TT dollars. And here's what that can do for you. I mentioned it can pay for a semester's fee. It can help you purchase a laptop, computer equipment, technology that would help in the online learning environment. Of course, if you need meals for your home, the money is yours, so you can purchase that because you have to be healthy and in a good frame of mind to learn. So this is what the $5,000 can do for you, and that's just the starting point. We have over 40 donors giving over 350 scholarships and bursaries to students, and that's for both incoming and continuing students. Most of our bursaries you can apply for every year. So let's say you applied and you got through this year and it lasted for 1 year, you can then apply again to be considered as a continuing student. So for our donors usually ask for a GPA requirement, evidence of financial need, and some kind of involvement in extracurricular activity. But the criteria really varies from donor to donor. Some donors may want students specifically in the Faculty of Humanities and Education doing a specific program, let's say visual arts, and of course engaged in community, some sort of community service. It varies from donor to donor. And so I do invite you to check out our webpage, and I'm sure they'll put the link in the chat at www.sta.uwi.edu/scholarships to get more information. And so we're looking at a GPA of 3.0. Some donors go below 3.0, sometimes to 2.5, depending on the financial need Of course, you're going to use your circumstances, the financial situation that you're facing to also access our bursaries and the general involvement in other areas of that the donors may be seeking. So I invite you students to please apply. The application date is from the 1st to the 30th of September. That's the 1st to the 30th of September for incoming students. That's you I'm speaking to, the incoming undergraduate students. We do have live sessions available every Thursday for the month of June, where you can log on. It's on our webpage as well. Schedule an appointment and get to talk with us one-on-one to find out a lot more about how you can apply and what the eligibility criteria and some of our donors look at and look for. So I want to once again welcome you to the University of the West Indies in advance, because I know you're going to sign up, and I look forward to seeing your application in the near future. Thank you and be safe. Thank you,
Mrs. Smith. Thank you very much. I don't know if Mrs. Kalu has anything to add to that.
Good afternoon, Mr. Murray and Ms. Smith. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Really, well, a pleasant good evening to everyone, and a special welcome and thank you to all those students who are logged into our session this afternoon. Just want to thank the Faculty of Humanities and Education for the opportunity to share some of the financial resources available from the Graduate Studies and Research Office. Students, both scholarships and bursaries are available within all departments of the Faculty of Humanities and Education. Specifically, we got two sets, research degrees and taught master's degrees. So for the research degrees, we got UWI Postgraduate Scholarship, we've got the Eric Williams Memorial Scholarship, we've got the Elsa Govaya Scholarships. These are all wonderful opportunities, and guess what? It's open to local, regional, and international MPhil and PhD research students. Students can be new first time, they can be existing research students, and guess what? They can actually be year 3 undergraduate students applying, but they must be coming in with effect from September 2021. So they must have applied to come in September 2021. These awards carry an amount of $60,000 per year. Thankfully, this award is renewable based on the students' academic performance. The website will have all the eligibility criteria, the online scholarship application form, and a checklist of documents will be placed in the chat box. Students, with regard to the postgraduate bursaries, this is the first time the Camel Braffett bursary is being offered. It's an internationally sponsored bursary, and it's available to new students commencing their Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing or the MA Literatures in English. The closing date for those two bursaries, it's July 31st, 2021. The second was the UWI Global Giving Bursary. This bursary was recently closed, unfortunately, but it will be re-advertised next academic year and is open to all students, postgraduate students, that is, across faculties. So just in case you've missed the application deadline, these bursaries will be re-advertised in the next academic year. So students, 2 things before I leave you. All scholarship and bursary information that we've just spoken of there, it's advertised via our marketing emails to your student emails. And even if you're not a student, that's okay. You can access the campus emails via the sta.uwi.edu website to keep fully updated on all the exciting opportunities available to you. Our information is also advertised via social media and uploaded in our postgraduate scholarship website. Students, the second thing I want to mention is that please keep reviewing and revisiting the postgrad website. Bursary offerings and scholarships are received and advertised throughout the year. My contact information will be placed in the chat box. Please take care, stay safe. Thank you. And Mr. Murray, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both again, Mrs. Smith and Ms. Kalu, for the comprehensive advice on our funding for the graduate programs. So now we have, we're going to move into a little quicker here because my own chat is actually starting to fill up quite nicely. And now trying to get to it here because there are so many that have come in in the last time. So this is again for another thing about a question on finances. So I would like to know about the financial assistance options for a master's program in speech and language pathology, and also if I can have an approximate cost of the MA in literatures in English. I don't know if either of our postgraduate persons would like to just speak about that briefly.
Sorry, Mr. Murray, can you repeat?
So this is about the financial assistance options for masters in speech and language pathology and the approximate cost of an MA in literatures and English, unless you would like them to contact you directly about it.
Yes, thank you very much. I really would appreciate that they send an email and I will be able to assist. Even the bursary can also assist, but I will be very happy to receive the email to respond accordingly.
All right, so we'll ask you to put that in the chat, please. All right. Now, this is another thing, again, another MA question. Good evening. I'm interested in pursuing the MA in Communication Studies. However, given the changes made by GATE, that is the discontinuation of funding for master's programs, I am concerned with financing. I know that the university offers payment plans, but I'm unsure as to how much it will cost per semester. Any assistance or feedback would be greatly appreciated. And I think I can say the same thing as well, that in the chat that you will see email for Ms. Kalu, where you can speak with her directly about the options which are available there. Person has also asked, will the fees for the master's programs be, I'm assuming it's master's, but maybe undergraduate, will the fees be the same for the upcoming academic year? So I'll ask any member of the bursary, please, if they can answer that.
Yes, Mr. Murray. So far, we have no information related to the increase in fees, so the fees stay the same.
So the fees stated on the website will be the same. Okay, great.
So far, except if you have new programs and new fees, and we'll update our fee booklet. Let me just take the opportunity. The questions that are coming in concerning the cost of fees, the fee booklet was posted in the chat, both undergraduate and postgraduate. So you can go through those and look for your particular programs that you're inquiring about.
Okay, and there are two GATE questions. So don't disappear too much, Mrs. Gooding. Would GATE funding be available for double majors?
GATE funding, yes, I believe there would be. Your GATE funding, there's a maximum allowable. And once it is a approved GATE funded program, you will be allowed to do so. You just have to make sure that your parameters are within the maximum allowable funding amount.
Okay, great, but don't move yet you can stay on. This is your last, I promise you'll get to move off in a second. How can then get to my bachelor's in education if I have already been considered for GATE at the certificate level? And I think you may have answered that already.
I did, yes.
But please say again, I think it's important. Yes, go ahead.
With the change in the GATE funding arrangements, you only qualify for one undergraduate program. Just one. So if you already received GATE funding for a program, you would no longer be eligible. Sorry.
All right. Thank you so much. You've had so much on time.
Welcome.
Now, Mr. Bradshaw, we're back with you. Can students who are currently writing CSEC apply?
Okay, just so. Thank you very much. The CSEC students can apply. I think the situation right now with CSEC results going to be out very late. This is something I think I would ask the dean to address, because if we have CSEC students with no grades at all and they have an application in, and the grades do come out in, let's say in October, and they're certified and reach admissions in October, the student and no classes are we anticipate classes starting on the second Monday of September. So students can apply. Registration for students that have CSEC, that have outstanding CSEC grades may be an issue. Not sure if the dean would want to weigh in on this at this point in time.
Yes, we encourage all students to apply. Our certificate programs are very important. As a faculty too, we are very flexible and we are determined to find a way to make it happen. It may be that we shift the semester. We can use our summer semester. We can start later. There are several options. We are in unprecedented times, but we are determined to make sure that you get the education that you deserve in your student specializations. So please apply and be prepared to be flexible. In this period of time, I think we all have to be prepared that. So students, by all means, apply to the certificate programs.
Okay, thank you very much, Dean. So now we are heading towards the end of the plenary questions, just about 3 or 4 more. And one student asked again for the deadline to apply. We don't mind saying over and over, it's the 31st of July. And somebody asked, and this is a question which I'm more prepping for when you go to the breakout rooms. What are careers that are not saturated in Trinidad currently? That is, what the careers that are in demand with this faculty. And I'm throwing that out to my colleagues so that when they meet you in the breakout rooms, whoever has asked that, or if others have interest in asking that you can respond to that particular question. So, and then the last 2 questions, actually it's the last question coming up, and this is from St. Vincent. And I have to say, like the young people, a shout out to St. Vincent, and I think everybody here must be saying a huge shout out to St. Vincent. It's a delight to have you on board, because we know that just a few weeks ago, this conversation probably would not have happened. So we say welcome, welcome, welcome. Are reduction of fees for students from St. Vincent been finalized? And if so, will they be offered for the new school year? And I'm putting that up to any member of the particular team who may have information on that, or may want to just say that they will take contact from that student and respond when they have more information. Any member of our bursary or admissions team, or I don't know if the dean has a response for that. That's quite one there.
Dean, do you wish to respond, or would you like me to?
Go ahead, Carolyn.
Yeah, so far we haven't gotten any official communication on that question. If you can direct, I'll put my email in the chat, and I'm asking if you can please direct your question to me, and I will respond to you.
All right, thank you so much. Well, I have to tell you, this has been, wow, these are some questions. But now, in a way, this is the moment that we are sort of waiting for, which is that we first of all, want to thank you for being with us this evening, but do not leave. We are not done with you. It is a pleasure to host you. But we're now going to get prepared for going to our departmental breakout rooms, where I've seen so many questions for the colleagues, both at the undergraduate and postgraduate level. But I want to remind you that today's session focused specifically on the Faculty of Humanities and Education. But if you would like to learn about programs that are available and accessible and compatible from the other faculties, be sure to register for the faculty information sessions, which will be hosted in the coming weeks. And you will see a link in the chat where you can access the full schedule and the registration information. But I'd like to call back our dean before we ask you to be assigned to breakout rooms. I'm calling on the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education, Dr. Heather Cato, to give you some last words of encouragement.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, potential students, that the Faculty of Humanities and Education is a faculty of human sciences. I want to say that we really care about you. I want to say that several speakers have said it, but we really consider us an FHE family. And I would really like you to join our family. Stay in touch. Let's talk you. And let's use the disciplines in this faculty to really make the kind of changes that we really need at this point in the 21st century. We are counting on you. Join us. Diversity, we are dynamic, and we are excellently placed to make the changes that we need. I also want to say that we consider this one of the most important things we do every year. And I want to really thank my FHE family and my team members who worked so hard to put this together. So let me formally say thanks. I invite you all to join us in the breakout room. Ask any question that you want. And for those of you all who still in the breakout room don't want to ask a question, send me an email. I'll be happy to answer. Our relationship starts today. Thank you. Back to you, Jessel.
Yes, Dean, thank you. And yes, a huge thank you to the FHE team and as well to the Office of Marketing and Communication who have managed us superbly this evening. We look forward, of course, as the Dean said, I'm echoing her words, but I'd like to join those words. We look forward to welcoming you to the UWI family. Don't forget to hashtag choose action. Don't forget to hashtag BUWI, and don't forget to hashtag let's talk you.